back in action. We got cut off, but Ryan was just telling me about how he is back in the mother. Would you call it the motherland?
The motherland, oh, hell yes, bro. This is
Yeah,
cradle of humankind.
yeah. Yeah. What I was asking was like, obviously, being in the UK for 10 years and then moving to Thailand after that, and then like coming home. Obviously, nostalgic and everything else. Like, uh, does it feel? Does living in South Africa for people feel like it does for people in Europe? Like everything is going to shit.
No,
Does
not
it
at
not?
all, bro.
No. Yeah,
No.
that's
Like,
interesting, isn't it?
it is because you know what? The devil you know is better than the devil you don't, right?
Hmm.
So the problems with South Africa are so evident and apparent
Yeah.
that people just are like, okay, well, we know there's corruption here,
Yeah.
right? And we know like how to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
And we know that X is leading to Y, etc. So it's easy to connect the dots. And wherever you are, if you can connect the dots, you'll be okay, right? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You can be, oh, this makes sense. Whereas in Europe, it's very cloak and dagger. It's very
Yes.
slow and clever. And it's like a slow, Jordan B. Peterson says best, it's a slow encroachment on your freedom. So like one step too close and you'll be like, hey, stop. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll stop. And
Mm.
then they'll wait. And then you'll settle down and they'll step close and you'll be like, stop. But by that time, they've already inched till they're right in your face.
Mm.
And like England's pretty much like it's turning out to act a lot and it's mimicking very much North Korea. I shit
Mm.
you not.
No, I completely agree, and we'll get into that as well because with even a few examples, I suppose Europe reminds me of the person in school who isn't straight up in your face confrontational, but like wants to give sly digs every now and again, and then
Yeah.
acts innocent when you confront that person, and kind of like gaslights you, and like
It's the
just
bitch. It's the class bitch. Do you
yeah,
know what I
it's
mean?
the I don't what's the word I'm looking for? It's like I would rather someone be like, straight up in my face saying I don't
Yeah.
like you,
Yeah.
or at least knowing where you stand with them, kind of thing.
Yeah, like
Um,
I'd rather someone just like come up and be like, "Hey, I think you're a cunt," and I'm like,
yeah,
"Thank you."
yeah,
Like now I know where we stand. Where it's like, "Hey, I think you're a really nice person,"
yeah,
and then
yeah,
the
yeah,
people
yeah.
go, "Oh, this person's a fucking asshole." And
Exactly right. Yeah, it's like they're really nice to your face, and then they're scheming your demise from behind your back.
that's my kryptonite. I cannot
Yeah,
stand
yeah.
that. And that's like I used to say this to English people. I used to say it all the time. I goes, "You guys are too polite,
Mm,
right? You're too polite." Oh, how are you doing? And I would literally just say to English people, "Do you actually care?" And they would be
mm,
shocked. They'll go, "Oh," and I was like, "Well, I'm asking, like, do you actually care?"
mm.
You know?
But I mean,
Um,
I don't mind people like just being polite, like, "Hi, how are you?" La, 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 la. But what I hate is what we see all over the world now is like people pretending to be morally good people while also like just being absolute, you know,
yeah, white knighting.
terrible humans.
Yeah.
And I think that I suppose we'll probably just go straight into the first topic because there's nothing that we're not going to cover on this new series
Oh,
of
let's go.
the Springbok and the Shamrock chat.
Mm.
And I suppose you can't not kind of start with like the Charlie Kirk assassination. And like speaking on that, it's like what I find really interesting. Obviously, like I was in the gym when it happened, and I walked out and I seen on my phone like it was like pray for Charlie Kirk, and I was like, what? I was like,
Dude, I know.
what? And I was like, they shot him. I was like, that is insane.
Did you see the
And
video?
I seen, and this is
Oh,
also such a disturbing thing as well. Like, it took me 2 seconds to go on to X, and I seen every single like I was scrolling down for a good 3 or 4 minutes, and every single video was just hit him getting shot in every different angle, and like it was graphic. It was like, and I was like, whoa, that is like my human brain shouldn't be able to just like like watch that straight after work and then go home and have a
yeah.
cup of tea and just act normal. And I was like, yeah, I was a bit shocked. But then what I wasn't surprised about, unfortunately, was like the reaction after of like people like celebrating and like like, did you see all like the TikTok videos of like the TikTok rot brain, like just lefty teenagers who were like kind of celebrating it and saying, yes, Charlie's dead, ha ha ha. And I was like, you know,
Nah,
like
nah, dude. Like,
and they are the people that pretend to be on the good side.
yeah, it's that classic, like, you know, and I'm not gonna really, well, fuck it, I don't care. RIP Charlie Kirk, I'm gonna carry the banner here. Liberal and conservative kind of thing, right? The whole premise of Charlie Kirk's thing was, yeah, he got a lot of gotchas, but he would go to university campuses and he would say, look, let's have a debate.
Yeah,
Let's have a discussion. You think this, I disagree, and that's okay.
yeah,
That's the freedom of speech. And it would just drive, the people with the woke mind virus absolutely insane, and he still did it. People would abuse him on the mic and stuff like that or whatever, and he would still do it. And what bugs me is like, how weak do you have to be that when someone presents an argument, whether you agree with it or not, that you're like, actually, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna shoot this person.
mm,
You know, it just baffles me. And the reason why I say, and I'm referring to liberal and conservative here, is the liberals have now just basically fucked themselves hard.
hmm
And what's going to happen is you're going to get conservative backlash,
hmm
huge, because they try to shoot Trump, right?
hmm
And now they shot Charlie Kirk.
yeah,
And go look at Biden, go look at Obama, all these people, never, no assassination attempts, nothing, right? Which is how it should be, in my opinion, right? Like, don't like
of course.
assassinate.
Like, we shouldn't be trying to assassinate people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, to even say that sounds asinine to me. To actually say
Yeah,
that out loud, it's like we shouldn't be doing that. But it's people's skin
yeah.
has become so thin
hmm
that it's like Carl thinks this, Ryan thinks this. Oh, that means, what? We have to kill each other now?
Yeah, yeah. I will say now, what I like, and that is a lot more. That is a large part of the left. I did end up finding like there was a few kind of political commentators like they're kind of like kids who like debated Charlie and other people in the, they're like the Charlie versus 25 libs and stuff like that in
Yeah,
them
yeah.
weird debates. And there's a kid on there who has like 2.5 million followers, and like he goes around the campuses debating conservatives and Republicans, and he debated Charlie a few times. And like there was a great video of him, like he was reading it in real time because I think he was live streaming or something like that, and he was crying, and he was like this is not it, this is not what you know uh like politics is supposed to be about, being on the other side. So I think there is decent Democrats who have moral clarity about you can disagree with people's opinions and not wish them dead. But I just think most of the left is a cesspool for these type of people,
I agree.
which
I
is
agree.
which is unfortunate. I'm gonna share with you the Substack article that I actually wrote on this, because I think it kind of sums it up pretty well. Um, if I can find it. So basically, let me just go on to subscriptions chat dashboard. So it was I wrote an article basically saying disagreement is not hate. All right, which pretty obvious. But so
That's
there was this Democratic senior Democratic state assemblywoman. All right, her name was Melissa Hortman, and her husband were basically gunned down in Minnesota about 3 months ago, and this was obviously politically motivated as well. So I think it was some sort of a
brutal.
conservative basically killed these two people, and they shot two others as well. All right, and when someone on the right goes and shoots someone on the left, I think your your first initial thought is going to be, that's terrible, that's awful. And I said, like, most people respond as any decent person would to, this is terrible, this is awful, we must condemn this, to someone being murdered, essentially. And then President Trump came out and goes, such horrific violence will not be tolerated in the United States of America. God bless the great people of Minnesota. Which is, like, nobody thought, okay, oh well, what's their political views? Like like trying to justify why them two Democrats got shot.
Yeah.
But if we flip it the other way, right? I had this argument with people on social media. It was like, they keep trying to justify Charlie Kirk getting assassinated because of his political views. So there was like this neuroscience woman who I follow, and she was like, "Oh, well, he believed in gun. He believed in like the right to bear
Oh, fuck
arms.
off.
Yeah, and basically trying to justify, oh, he got shot because he believed this. Like when it's like on the other way, it's like it does not matter what your political views are. You have a right to express them without getting fucking shot.
Exactly. And let's make a clear distinction here that people who are probably listening may miss. And it's not the presumption that anyone is stupid, it's just clarity, right? It's not liberals or Democrats, whatever you want to call them, and conservatives, right? Left, right, whatever.
Mhm.
It's the extremities of either side
Yeah.
who have the loudest voices, and they're actually the minority,
Mhm.
right? But and dude, I woke up this morning, right? I shit you not. I woke up this morning and I was gonna unleash a thread about Charlie Kirk being like, because my feed, all these like people I follow, right, who never post anything about, Charlie Kirk or any, all of a sudden it's like you're Charlie, all jumping on the Charlie Kirk train,
Mhm.
right? And I was like, what the fuck? The only reason the majority, and these are people who may be into um, something totally, totally irrelevant
Mhm.
to Charlie Kirk and have never spoken about politics, nothing. And they jump on his death like a fly to shit because of likes, views, and engagement.
Yeah.
And it drove me. I was watching. I was like, I know this person. I actually know this person, and this person is talking about you. They never they never talk about their views, but here they are
Mhm.
doing this because it's hot news. And I'm like, look, I get it, it's hot news, but by the same token, to riff off someone's death
Mm.
to get engagement is just
Well,
fucked, and it's the
well,
extremities.
that's really what X is as well. It's like the amount of people that were just like so happy to just uh continue to share like someone being murdered on their feed. I was like, like his wife and kids are probably in the hospital now, and people are just sharing that video. Like, and there was also MSNBC, which is like a left-leaning news outlet
Yeah.
and I think they had like some terrible take, like, oh, we don't know if it was actually someone who shot him. It could have been a conservative just shooting off their gun in the air, because that's obviously what, like, right-leaning conservatives do. You know what I mean? Like, they're a bunch of hillbillies who just shoot guns in the air willy-nilly, and do you know what I mean? It's like you
It's
straight away they were trying to turn the narrative on. Oh, this was their fault, not just a cowardly murder or
it
assassination
just
of police.
blows mate, it blows my mind. And the reason why it blows my mind is not your political leaning is literally irrelevant.
Exactly. Exactly. And that
It's
was the whole point of my Substack. It was like, it doesn't
yeah.
matter if you're on the right or left. Like, you condone, them two politicians in Minnesota being killed, and you condone Charlie Kirk
Yeah.
being killed. And to be fair to Joe Biden, who, like, obviously I don't like, because there is no place in our country for this kind of violence. It must end now. Jill and I are praying for Charlie Kirk's family and loved ones. Um,
Do you reckon he actually wrote that, or you got he
Well,
got someone to
obviously,
write it for him?
obviously, it was probably written for him. But, like, I mean, there needs to be a standard from the top anyway, even if it's like,
Yeah.
what it
They've
is,
got
what
they've
it
got
is.
to bring people together, mate. They have to,
Yeah,
because the whole premise of this is division, division, division.
yeah, and
You
that's why
know,
that's why it's like that. It's that MSNBC. It's so toxic. Like, it's propaganda masqueraded as news, and it's like,
yeah.
you. Like, someone has after being killed, and you are trying to spin the story already to demonize the other side.
But like, where's the humanity? Because you know what, the Charlie Kirk's like, take his missus out the equation because she's probably dying inside. But
Yeah,
let's just put it to the side for a second. His son or his daughter? Does he have a son or
he
daughter?
has a 1-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter.
Okay, so his kids are gonna grow up. And one day, bullying at school happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Well, oh, fucking it happened to me. So I assume it happens to everyone, right? One day, a kid at school is gonna pull up that video of his father being shot in the fucking neck.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And what really frustrates me is people want to make this divide and go, okay, left and right. It's like, no, it's the extremities.
Hmm.
And Charlie Kirk wasn't extreme,
No.
right? He was just like, hey, I have these views, right? Debate me on them. Go for it,
Yeah.
you know? But it's the loudest voices from the smallest minority of extreme individuals on both sides,
Yeah.
conservative and liberal, that then scream, 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 and everyone's like, shut up.
Yeah.
We really, really aren't bothered by you screaming and, virtue signaling. And then they get harbored resentment, and then it turns into fueled hatred, and then it turns into action.
Yeah.
And and the truth is, do you know what that all stems from, bro? And people are going to hate me for saying this, weakness, like
Mhm.
mental weakness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you've
I
got to
agree.
have a mental stronghold. If someone says to me, well, Ryan, you're like, and this happened all the time, right? You're Ryan, you're white, so you must be racist. It's like I could get really angry and then I could go and, seek vengeance or whatever, or I could be like, that's
It's
what you think?
it's no
Okay.
emotional control. Like
Yeah.
why didn't you learn to control your emotions? And if and
But
if
that's the thing. That's
yeah,
what's being taught. That's
yeah.
what's actually being taught in schools. It's like people are being taught, and this is why you've got to be like I say this with my clients, be very careful of operating off feeling, right? Because your feelings can deceive you,
Yeah.
right? So like acknowledge how you feel, but don't necessarily act on it, right? Because of that. Because if you like, and everyone goes, safe space, feelings matter. It's like, yeah, they do, but you don't need a safe space to go and scream your fucking lungs out.
Mm.
Control yourself. Why? Because if you can't control something as minute as that, it's just an incremental step up, 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 up until you get someone who's chilling on a roof,
Yeah.
aiming and shooting, you know? And what, this is me being a bit of a like conspiracy theorist here, but you know what? I'm finding that a lot of conspiracy theories are now becoming true
Well, they're always conspiracy theories until they come true.
until they come true, right? Exactly. It didn't happen with liberal presidents.
Mm.
you know. And the reason why I'm mentioning presidents is just because Trump obviously got nailed, right? And lost a bit of his ear, got a bit of Evander Holyfield, you know what I mean? But I just it all stems from a place of lack of control and then being told that that's okay. Like it's okay to be like that.
And then because they have that lack of control, they turn, and that's why I said disagreement is not hate, because they don't have that lack of control, they turn everything into, oh, that is hate speech, oh, that is you attacking me.
Yeah, they'll
and
spin it.
and,
They'll
and
spin it. Yeah.
yeah, the distinguish I made was the right often sees the left's views as misguided but still views, and the left too often brands the right's views as hate and therefore worthy of violence like we seen 2 days ago.
Yeah, and like for anyone listening, right? This is why liberals are so important and so conservatives. The liberals tend to be right? It's very much changing now on the geopolitical spectrum, just so everyone's aware. But
Mm.
they tend to be the thought leaders, the innovators. Like, hey, we want to try something new.
Hmm.
We want to bring in something new. And the conservatives are usually the people who are like, hey, we don't mind, but we're gonna go back and forth with this new thing,
Yeah.
but we don't want to lose our morals and like our essence.
Yeah.
And that's what balanced it out, right? That kind of debate you would have, right, between liberal and conservative that allows society to move forward. But now it's become this war zone, this like political war zone where if you think if you're a conservative, okay, well then you're a Nazi.
Hmm.
Or then, yeah, you know what? Oh, you believe in gun control? Okay, cool, go shoot people. Wait, what?
Mm.
Hold the phone.
Yeah.
Hold on. If that's in the Constitution and like, that's what you believe, etc., you're allowed to have a gun. But it doesn't mean you're allowed to pull the fucking trigger whenever you want, right? That's the whole premise of the American Constitution, right? It's literally based on that, which is like, you know, you have the freedom to bear arms
Yeah.
because you have the control not to just go and start,
Yeah,
dropping shot into crowds.
shooting innocent people. Yeah, and
Yeah,
there was a great tweet that kind of summed this up because they wanted to turn this into a conversation on gun control rather than an
fuck
absolute
off.
lunatic with a gun. And someone I can't remember who it was, but they tweeted like uh, what was it? It was like oh yeah, please give up your guns so we could or I'm surprised I'm so shocked that the conservatives don't want to give up their guns to the people who keep shooting them. And it's true, like it's like why would I want, and there was a this is going off on a completely different tangent, but
Go for it, bro. This is what we do.
I was on I think it was on Instagram, and ended up following this Irish lad who lives in New York, and his page is all about like warning you about different kind of AI threats and stuff like that, and he was talking about how everyone needs to be really safe because what there's these plans for people in the city to come together as a group, use AI, and ring all the police stations in the city and just do like fake call-ins of people needing murders and break-ins and stuff like that. And
Like spotting.
and while they're doing all them fake calls, they're gonna actually go in and break into houses and obviously take things off people and stuff like that. And I was like,
That's
well, like if something like that was to happen, right, where you had like a sophisticated system where you could call into all the police lines and they didn't know what to do, they completely shut down, like you could
yeah.
have anarchy on the streets.
Well, that's what happened in Durban.
Really?
Yeah. So in Durban, this was a while ago. I can't remember what it was or what happened, but basically, Durban is in South Africa, for anyone wondering. The police were just like, nope, we can't do anything. We can't, enforce the law. To the point where literally people were sitting on their walls with shotguns,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
the purge, being like, okay, if you come into my house, I'm going to shoot you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, in my opinion, if there's a mob marching down the street and the police ain't going to do anything, or the response time is too slow, whatever it is, and you have the right to bear arms and look after your property,
Absolutely.
I'll be sitting on that wall. I'll be sitting on that wall.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's why it's like I don't know if I'm like pro or anti-gun laws. I don't really know. I've heard really good convincing aspects to both sides. I probably more towards do bear arms, but like when you hear situations like that, I'm like definitely bear arms. Give me a shotgun. Do you know what I mean? So
And then think
um,
about this, bro. What happens if there's a mob of people rolling down your street and you don't have arms to bear?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
What are you
exactly.
supposed to do? Bend over and spread it?
Yeah, yeah. So when you position the argument like that, I'm like, yeah, 100%. And I suppose like the left leaning side is like, oh, we'll protect you or the government will protect you, but it's like, no, thank you. I don't trust the
No,
government to be
no,
protecting me. No
no chance.
thanks. Uh,
They don't give a shit about you. This is
no.
this is where people make the mistake, right? And I was actually speaking to my parents about this, and this is why I don't vote.
Mm,
Because you are going to pick either way a serpent. You're gonna pick a snake. And people will always come with the same argument, which is, well, I prefer this snake to that snake.
yeah.
And it's like, well, how much do you really know about each snake?
Mm,
None, nowhere near enough to make an informed decision, right? And voting and voting polls and all this kind of stuff, and there's all sorts of things about rigged elections, this, that, and the
yes,
other
there's
thing.
loads on that.
Yeah.
I think well, this is just a thought, and I haven't thought about it too deeply. So if I'm incorrect, like allow me to be incorrect. But like I feel
No, Carl, I'm
like
gonna shoot you, bro.
I feel like to vote you have to have some degree of intelligence to what's going on in the world, or what's going
Yeah.
on in your country, or like even to be able to pass like some simple test, because you know what, you've so many people who are voting who don't actually have a clue what they are voting for.
Mm.
And I think that can be quite dangerous as well. But then at the other side now, when I think about it, I mean, there's a lot of academics and intellectuals who I think are so extreme in their views and it's gone so far down one side that maybe I don't know, but
It's a dude, like it's a tricky one with the voting situation, and I'll tell you why. It's not because of the people,
mm,
it's because of the politics, and this is why I say to people, politics is so Machiavellian,
yeah,
right? And to summarize Machiavellianism, it's the attainment of power by any means necessary,
yeah,
right? Like Machiavelli said, the infamous quote, which is like, if I had to choose between being loved, feared, I would choose the one that's most effective, feared.
mm,
You know, if I'm loved, it's just a bonus. And I'm a bit like, hmm, okay. And you can look at it in the UK, for example, right? You know, when Keir Starmer was on the campaign trail, I promise this. I'll promise you that this is going to happen. I
yeah,
promise you that this is going to happen. Now, that's to get, gain popularity, gain traction, etc., etc. But then when it push comes to shove and they're actually in the pulpit, so to speak, do they follow through? Nah,
never,
they don't. And it's so frustrating because the power actually lies with the people.
yeah,
Imagine if everyone just said, we're not voting.
yeah. But like, I mean, like, at the same time, like, if I look at the previous election in the states, like the like, e- of the of two kind of bad options, I would always have preferred that the people voted for Trump and kept and had Trump back in rather than Kamala Harris. Like I think if it went down the other way,
Yeah.
we would, even though we were in a bad position, I think we would be in a far worse position. So like at the same time, I know even when there's only bad options, I mean, it's still best to pick the least worst option. And I'm thinking of that in terms of Irish politics now. Is like there's so many, like it's really hard. There's the presidential election coming up, and it's really hard to actually get into the ballot. They make it really really difficult so they can just keep the main parties with their candidates. And the people are trying to get like independent candidates in, people who will actually talk about things like immigration and housing and the things that people actually give a shit about in this country. And it's really hard to get one of them candidates into the election. It's kind of like similar to like I think that in America the way like you can be a Democratic or a Republican, but an independent party is never gonna get the make the election and win. Um, and I think to
What's the
myself, like,
criteria? Like, why is it so hard to enter the ballot in Ireland? Like, what's the like rule? Like,
you
what's the
need
crack?
to get like 20 um to get on the so basically kind of like they have it. I think you have to get like four different basically four different how we call them counties, but basically kind of like areas, and it's really hard to four local authorities, so four local county or city councils, which is really really difficult because most of them will be part of the main parties, which is like Sinn Féin, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil. So it just
Yeah.
they make it. There's also you need 30 signatures from voters in your constitution, or like they just make it excessively difficult. Now I understand that you have to make things kind of difficult because you don't want just anyone going in and running. Like Conor McGregor's trying to run, and it's like, do you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
absolutely hated in the country. He's been in court like 15 times, for multiple different things,
It's
and
so funny,
and
bro.
like I know that like in some cases like you'll have the left calling like people like sexual predators and stuff like that, but like to smear their name so they don't they're not successful in politics. But he literally is, like, it's been like quite extensively
Yeah.
proven. But he just doesn't care, and then like all the kind of right wing European and Americans don't really understand McGregor more so than the Irish people do, because like Ireland's a very small country. Everybody's heard a story. Everybody knows a person. Do you know what I mean? So they all think
Yeah.
he's kind of like the Trump of Ireland when he's definitely not. But yeah, like other
I've heard things about Conor McGregor.
mm,
I've heard all sorts. Like when I say I've heard things about Conor McGregor, like didn't he open a pub or something? And like people said his whiskey was like really shit. The Irish said that. Is that true?
I've never drank his whiskey, but I've been in his pub once. It's actually a quite a decent pub, to be fair to him. But yeah,
Oh, really? It's nice.
yeah, it's a decent pub. Like, it's lively. It's good. But yeah, he's just like the Irish have kind of a joke about him. They say Conor McGregor's a Brit, pass it on, because like if you're Irish, the worst insult you can be called is a Brit. So that's kind of like, it's funny because when he was like, when he was like the athlete that he was, and when he was winning everything, everyone was like straight on the Conor McGregor train, because it's like, oh, deadly, one of us is at the top of pinnacle sport. But then his kind of like, he's punched like 70-year-old men in the head in a pub because they wouldn't drink his drink, and like, just
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, there's just an accumulation of things that, like, and I'm not a like as much of an anti Conor McGregor as like the majority of Irish people, especially on the left. Like, liberal women hate him, they hate him. I don't hate him, but like,
Oh shit, I could imagine actually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, but I don't hate him, but I definitely would not like to see him as the president. You know what I mean?
No,
Like, that would
I
be,
wouldn't.
if
Yeah.
If Conor McGregor is if Conor McGregor becomes the president of Ireland, like, I'm in a simulation. That's what I think. You know,
Bro, I'll be honest, I kind of think we are in a simulation
I
already.
think we might be. I genuinely think we might be. I wanted to go on to because obviously we were talking about Charlie Kirk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think if we talked about some of the things that he spoke about, it would be interesting into going into the poor Ukrainian woman who got stabbed in the neck.
On the
So
bus.
yeah, so obviously, like,
Yeah.
one of the things Charlie Kirk is criticized for, wrongly so, in my opinion, is like his pushback on critical race theory. So like, he talks about white privilege and DEI, and he basically calls them like anti-white. And we've spoke about this, and I presume
Yeah.
we both agree with that sentiment.
100%.
Yeah, and then if we look at that, then, and we look at, like, okay, there was a lot of comparisons to, that woman on the bus who got stabbed in the neck for no reason, and I can't remember the name of your man, but like, he had like 14 previous convictions. Like, he was like, his mum warned the authorities about like his behavior and stuff like that, and like, he was just let out, and then he just does that heinous act. And did you see the video?
Yep.
Yeah, it's horrendous, and then everyone's just sitting there looking at her while she bleeds to death. No one even tries to put their hand on her, or try to put pressure on to kind of save her.
Yeah.
It's
Mate, like
crazy.
I can speak from actual experience because saw my friend get stabbed to death, you know?
Mm.
Um, and it's fucking horrific. But what just baffles me is how can anyone defend the whole immigration thing and what's got to for let's use the UK as a perfect example, right?
Mm.
I just don't see a defensible argument there, right? Like multiculturalism is great. It's not a bad thing, but it is if you go, it's like me going to your house being like, okay, this is my house, it's my rules now, bro.
Yeah.
You'll be like, what? No, dog. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand. And you know what? It'd be cool if people could drop it in the comments their thoughts on this, but how is that not seen from every angle
Mm.
as like that is a sheer fuckery. Like, it just should not happen, you know? And people go, oh, but they need asylum. It's like, okay, well then go send them to their neighbor.
Mm.
Go send them somewhere else. You don't need to send them to a country which you're going to try on purpose change. You know what I mean? And not for the better, to the point where people are just so ashamed to be Irish, to be English, to be this, that, or the other thing. You know what I mean? And it makes no sense.
Mm.
And how the hell that guy was on a bus and not in prison is beyond me.
Well, that's the thing. Like, obviously, I definitely think, stronger immigration policies, stronger borders, but also, and I don't know if like the Carlos Brown Jr. 34, but like as well as that is like stronger prison sentences, and keep bad people in prison. Like stop letting
Yeah,
them out, because like when you think that, oh, we're trying to help these people to change their lives and blah blah blah, you're putting other people at risk by being so lenient with your prison sentences.
and being super stringent with the innocent.
Yeah, 100%. And what really bothered me the most about this was just like, if you and this is why I brought up the Charlie Kirk thing about DEI and all that stuff, is because like if you look at the difference between that Ukrainian girl who got stabbed versus George Floyd, who there isn't a wink of evidence that that was racially motivated. Cities
Yeah.
burned down for him, and the every politicians took a knee. Like the amount of mainstream media attention that happened over that, okay. And
Baffling.
there turned out to be not a smidge of evidence to say that it was racially motivated, or that black people are proportionately penalised by white cops. The evidence is very clear on that. The data was showed on that. And
Yeah.
yet, you look at this Ukrainian woman who has been stabbed in the neck. There wasn't a single article made for her for mainstream media, and the reason that is because she was white, and it didn't suit the narrative that they wanted to tell, and it was
That's
only
the
through
thing.
it's only through social media that she got the attention that she deserved.
But like to riff off that social media thing, I think part of the problem is you, it's annoying because it's part of the problem, but you've also kind of got to deal with it. And
Mm.
what I mean by deal with it is you kind of got to roll with it, but do it in a certain way, which is these little short clips that bait people,
Yeah.
like uninformed people who are, and look, being uninformed, you're not a bad person for being uninformed, right? Okay, so let's make that abundantly clear. But if you're uninformed and then a little clip drops by on your TikTok of, Charlie Kirk, nailing someone in a debate, and it's like 30 seconds long, you're like, oh, that guy's such a fucking idiot. And it's like, well, hold on. Actually, do your due diligence on this first.
Hmm.
And it's that whole like quick social media thing. Like I even said it in one of my reels. It's like I did an experiment on this, which for a whole week, I spent 1 hour a day purposefully going on my explore feed and just doom scrolling
Yeah.
on purpose
Yeah.
to see what would happen to my brain and everything. And I journaled it and everything.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the quick fix of dopamine, when I didn't have it, it made me lose focus. It made me not want to read as much. And I was like, this is insane. Like, this is absolutely baffling. And it's all about on social media. And this is where the whole premise of, the UK is doing this thing where they're trying to control the social media. Have you noticed? I don't know what it's called again.
Yeah,
Um,
they're adding in the hate speech laws that
yeah, yeah.
that basically it's just a cover up for basically suppressing people's speech.
It's communist. You know
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah, yeah,
By definition,
yeah.
like proxy definition, everyone can Google it. It's literal Marxism and communism.
Yeah.
And guised under the sense of freedom, how dare you? Like, how dare you, bro? It just blows my mind. And then that means, okay, well, under hate speech laws, which one or two or a group of people who are on the same side will make, then means, okay, anything that gets drip fed to people is controlled.
Hmm.
You see? So it turns into this giant, which is exactly what's actually happening. This is not a conspiracy, psyop of cool, we're going to drip feed you the stuff that's going to wind you up, that's going to get you riled up, that's going to either, divide, because the more divided you are, the less inclined, like I said earlier, we all are to be like, you know what, none of us are voting
Yeah.
because we don't like any of you fuckers. You're all just as bad as the other. And and this is why I always say this, and people get very frustrated when I say it, but I really don't give a shit, which is a person is smart, but people are stupid,
Yes. Agreed.
right? So if me and you said, okay, Ruth, me and you aren't going to vote, let's get everyone to jump on the same bandwagon with a genuine argument of, look, No one who's coming into government is going to be good, so don't vote. See what happens. Create a power vacuum, right? Don't vote. But people, there's always like one person just a bit like, oh, I'm going to vote.
Mm,
Thinking that, and for example, this is proven. You know, when they show you the ballots, it's like, oh, this person is 2 points ahead, or 1 point ahead, or one vote ahead. You know, this is actually not true.
mm,
They're usually like 200 or 300 or 400. So when they go, hey, your vote matters, it
mm.
fucking doesn't, right? Your vote isn't going to swing the election. You see what I mean? So what bugs me is the power lies with the people, but the powers that be have convinced you that you have no power, that you're devoid of power because you can't group together, liberal, conservative, left, right, come together and just be like, you know what? We're not doing any of this shit. Look, we have difference in views, difference in opinion, cool, but you know what? We know that at the top there's corruption, there's bad stuff going on. So nothing.
Well, I
We're not
think
gonna.
what makes it even more difficult is even if I would agree with like small governments like in in Ireland we'll call them county councils, like so you
Yeah.
have you have a councillor who looks over the community, and they were the
Voted in by the people.
yeah, voted in by the
Yeah.
people in the community. You
Right.
know that your local councillor. You know him. You've spoke to him. You can see him. You can see his face. You can talk to him. Like
Yeah.
you can bring up your concerns to
Gripes.
him.
Yeah.
And the problem is that they don't have any power now because like even if something's happening, like they'll bring it up in the Dáil in the Irish government, and
Yeah.
it just won't get addressed. And now even more, it's like the Irish government don't have any power because they've brought that up to the EU, and it's like people are being impacted by policies from people over in fucking Zurich in Switzerland or wherever, and it's like that does not make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And the best thing to do, right, is have a look at, for example, the big businesses, millionaires, billionaires. If they start to leave the country, you know it's going to shit.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
people are going to be like, no, that's elitist. No, it's not, right? It's
Well, in the
because
in
they
the
have
UK, they had it's like there's been an astounding amount of
outward migration.
millionaires that have left the UK, and I
Yeah.
don't blame them.
Why, well, exactly. Why would you stay?
Yeah.
You're going to get taxed out the ass. You're not being made the priority. The people aren't being made a priority, so you leave, right? Because you have the power to leave, right? You have that sovereignty with the wealth that the person has accrued. So look at that and then go, okay, well, these people are leaving for a reason. I may not be there in that tax bracket or whatever, but they're leaving for a reason, right?
Well, everyone suffers then because they pay the majority of the taxes.
Exactly, right? And you got to remember the more millionaires and billionaires and stuff that are in your
More
country,
jobs.
the more jobs, the better the economy, everything, right? So it's not about, oh, they're a millionaire, fuck them. It's like, no, this is a pivot point. And you learn this at school. It's called outward migration of the most able. So people who have the ability to go, they go,
Mm.
and you got to look at that and think, okay, there's clearly a reason as to why this is happening, and in the UK, this is why I say, like, English people, stop being so polite because you let people stomp on you and then you get angry. It's like, don't let them stomp on you in the first place. All your hotels are being filled and with people who say they don't have jobs, but they're like Deliveroo drivers and Uber drivers and this, that, and the other thing, taking away the jobs from the actual people themselves. Now, if those are people who are legally there, legally, that's totally fine.
Mm.
Like for example, the richest people in America are a minority. They're Asians.
Yeah.
They're a minority and they're Asians. So if someone comes to me and says, okay, we don't have the, equal opportunity, I'll go, bullshit. I'll just call it. This is absolute balls. Then how come the biggest minority in the US has the most capital?
Yeah. It's a victim mentality. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's victimhood. And like if you don't buy into the victimhood, then you're an oppressor.
Mm.
And it's like, whoa, 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 that does makes no sense. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, victimhood, anything that's not victimhood, now you're an oppressor. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it's kind of it's really to do with like it's not to do with race. It's not to do with political opinion. Like deep down, it's not to do with any of that. It's essentially to do with the haves and have-nots.
Yeah, literally.
Mm.
And it's the bitterness,
Yeah, yeah, that's what it
you know,
is.
and the resentment, and it's like, I'm gonna get you somehow. You know, like that bitchy, that bitchy person in school.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm gonna get you somehow. And it's like you're kind of chopping off your nose to spite your face.
yeah.
You know
And
what I mean?
it's why they all fall into activism of things that they can't change from halfway around the world. It's because it makes them feel like they have some sort of power or some sort of unity without actually taking any control of their own lives.
Yeah. And you know what bugs me, bro? Like just like being straight up
Mm.
is the fact that something like what happened to Charlie Kirk or what happened to that girl, what happened to those Democrats.
Yeah,
People do the same thing. They go to social media and they go, I stand with or I don't stand. Like, mate, instead of talking about making a difference, go make a difference.
yeah,
Like, for example, you writing a blog, being like, okay, I'm ready for what's going to come, the good and the bad. That's making a difference. I'm having the discussion.
yeah,
Bring it on.
yeah,
Even me, like, I put it in my, I've got debate me in the comments.
yeah,
Go for it,
yeah.
because I'm ready. Like, I'm more than happy to have that debate. Because if I'm wrong, I'm open to correction.
Yeah.
I'm not so
If
arrogant as to
if
think,
you're wrong, it will show up in your arguments, and then you have to go back and reevaluate your thought process. And that was the
but then
that
you've
was
got pride and ego, bro. That's
yeah,
the
and
thing.
that
But
and that
people
was
are too
that
proud.
was that was the beautiful thing I thought about Charlie Kirk was the fact that, like, I don't care if you believed him or didn't believe him, he would sit there and have open debate with anyone about anything, and
Yeah.
like that, and I think why people feel so passionately about the assassination, because it's not just an assassination on him, it's an assassination on free speech.
Yeah. It's assassination on the open forum.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you can't if you're an intelligent person and you're like, you know what, I want to have the discussion with people, right? I want to see their point of view and they can see mine. And let's see if there's a compromise or if they think that this is correct or incorrect. Are they open to correction, etc.? He was the literal embodiment of that.
mm,
Because he knew the education system was broken.
yeah,
So he'd go to college campuses. He would debate gender professors, like actual professors.
yeah,
And look, like credit where credit, just he would destroy them
yeah,
because everything was formulated on sand, not concrete,
yeah.
you know? And the problem there is like I think it's the First Amendment is freedom of speech. I think. And it's like you didn't assassinate a conservative who you don't like. You just made everyone shit themselves as to being like, oh, I don't know if I can talk about this.
That's
That's why, for
that's the scary
example,
that's the scary thing,
exactly.
because it's like, oh, will people, like, now when people go to do these kind of things where people go and they want to speak their mind and they want to say their truth, it's like, you know the cost is, the bar has really been raised about what the cost is to that.
Death.
And like
That's not a cost.
to have to wear a bulletproof vest to say opinions, to give your opinion, to give your view on something, like, that's
But
insane.
that's why I think these conversations that me and you have,
Mm,
right? The Springbok and the Shamrock, right? Are so pivotal for anyone who listens, man. Because it's like we'll have a conversation. And I don't care if someone goes, oh, I think he's this, that. I'm like, cool, let's have the convo, man.
yeah,
More than happy to. Because I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm not open to correction.
yeah,
It's like, okay, dude, if like I even asked you, it's like, so how does the actual system work in Ireland? Because I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? But I'm not going to sit there and assume that I'm the high and mighty individual that does.
yeah,
And it's not me trying to virtue signal white knight, but that's the whole point.
yeah.
And that's why I'm so passionate about it because it's like you've just assaulted the most important thing in the world, and that's people's ability to have a conversation, sentient humans. If we can't have that, we're no better than apes.
Yeah.
Let's just get sticks and beat each other over the head.
I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
That's a quote. Who said that?
I can't remember, but it's like the famous free speech quote.
Oh, damn, bro. I hate it when you do that because it's on the edge of my tongue, the author.
I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend to
Into the death.
death.
Oh, was it Voltaire?
Yeah, I think that was a spin-off. I think someone else actually. Um,
But I'll defend to the death your right to say it. Yes, that's a beautiful quote. It's one of my favorite quotes, actually. If it's Voltaire, I'll be so happy.
who quoted that? I'll tell you now. It was yeah, often attributed to Voltaire, the French Enlightenment philosopher. Um, so while people credit Voltaire, it's more accurate to say uh, Evelyn Beatrice Hall wrote it, paraphrasing Voltaire's philosophy. So Evelyn Beatrice Hall. But you're technically correct. You're 50-50 correct.
50-50, man. Like at least I got it half
Yeah,
right.
I drew you a bone there because you were right.
Thank you, bro.
And speaking of free speech, obviously I wanted to talk about this, but then something else, but everything else happened in between the week since last week that we spoke. Everything that I was wanted to talk to you about, it like got thrown out because like so much, that's how fast paced the society.
Bro, I
Like
got off the flight. I landed in Ethiopia and I was like, I just see this assassination video. I was like,
yeah, yeah, it's insane. It's like one thing after the next. It's insane.
boom, boom, boom.
But it was like, so there's this famous show in Ireland called Father Ted. Like it's basically about the Catholic Church, and it kind of like it was like a almost like a revolution to then like not have like because the Catholic Church kind of had its grips on Ireland, like people were terrified of it,
Yeah,
and it kind of turned it into kind of this silly sitcom that was really really funny and hilarious, and it kind of. And he actually even talks about he doesn't know if that's a good thing now because obviously it went so far the other way that it went,
yeah.
demonic rather than just like yeah. But anyway, I'm gone onto a side tangent. But his name's Graham Linehan, and he's a brilliant writer, like one of the best writers to come out of Ireland. And obviously he has extensively criticised transgender ideology, and people mistake him for being like hateful towards transgender people, which isn't the case. It's just the idea of people kind of pushing you to think a certain way, and
Yeah.
obviously to keep women's spaces as safe as possible. But anyway, so he obviously has been putting out tweets and stuff like that. I think he just finished off a podcast with Joe Rogan. He was living in the States for a time being, and when he came, he flew back to Heathrow Airport in the UK, and as he got off the flight, there was five armed policemen
Yeah.
waiting to arrest him over his ex posts. And I think they basically didn't have anything. He actually he actually had to be rushed to the hospital because he was so stressed about the whole ordeal. But yeah, I think he's kind of like trying. I think they're gonna like sue the government or whoever they have to sue over it basically. But yeah, I just thought it was insane that like in a country where like knife crime is at an all-time high, where like people are just snatching bags left, right, and center, that he was basically being met at the airport by five armed policemen to take him away over sharing an opinion on transgender ideology.
Priorities, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Fucking mad.
And I think one of his tweets was hilarious. It was like he took a picture of a bunch of protesters, and he captioned underneath it, "If a photo, it's a photo you can smell." Basically calling them all smelly. And I was like, you know what? You might not find it funny. You might find it funny. Might be like bad tastes to some people. Some people won't mind, but like, are you gonna arrest someone for like for slagging you? Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
Like
dude, they
how?
arrested a woman for like 20 months or something
Yeah,
for like
yeah,
coming
yeah,
outside an abortion clinic,
yeah.
thing. It's like that's baffling, mate.
She did. She
It's
got. I'll tell you what she got arrested for. She got arrested for praying beside it.
yeah, how insane is that?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's that Ricky Gervais quote as well. It's like how arrogant are you to think that you deserve to go through life with no one ever saying anything you don't agree with or like?
He's totally correct.
Yeah,
That's literal pure arrogance.
yeah. That's what it is. And
Yeah.
like, but you know what? I think especially in the UK and I think it kind of it triples down to Ireland a little bit. They tried to actually get that kind of hate speech or that hate bill in
Yeah,
the
but you
north.
guys fought back quick,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. It got scrapped straight away. They knew
Yeah,
they weren't getting it, but I think they're gonna try again. But
up
it's
the
like
Irish.
it's so easy to police tweets and to police what people say online. What's difficult is actually to just go out and follow up after real crime and people actually being victimized.
And that's the problem. And a lot of them don't even have proper training, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's just baffling. And then you have to have citizens step in.
yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes they just don't. Like that girl that got knife on the train and just left it, like just
yeah.
like let it bleed out, you know. It's just absolutely insane. But it goes back to that whole premise of like right now in the geopolitical spectrum, this quote holds the most amount of weight,
Mm,
which is power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
mm.
The people at the top will decide what you can say. Nope, I'm sorry, that's not happening. I'll say what I want to say, and if you disagree, you have every right to, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Like, what's the issue there?
Yeah,
Nothing.
and if I offend you, so be it. That doesn't give you the right to justify shooting me in the neck.
No ways. You know, it's pardon the pun, it's killer.
Yeah,
You know, it's like savagery. As I said, you might as well just be chimps. Just
yeah.
let's just go. Might makes right then. Fuck it. Let's just go bang each other over the head. What?
Yeah. Anyway, the last thing that I was going to talk to you about was this girl Sadia Khan, but I think we're gonna have to leave that for next week, and maybe we'll go
Dude,
into like,
Sadia Khan.
yeah,
Let's go into it a bit. Let's go into it a bit.
yeah. Well, I wanted to keep that for we're gonna do an episode on all on dating dynamics. I think so. I think we'll keep this episode for like the political demise of the West, and I'm sure by next week we're gonna have a whole host of things to speak about
Just
because
make sure Sadia's at the front, bro.
Sadia Khan's gonna be at the front, and we're gonna go into that, and we'll go into the these high value women who want to coach men while also
Being a side piece and this, that, and the
yeah,
other thing.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So
It's so
I'll pull up some statistics on the dating market and stuff like that, and we'll get into it. But so how long are you gonna be home for?
I'm gonna be home until the 19th of October, which is awesome. Because I haven't seen my parents for so long, man. It's just it's a full circle moment, bro. You hear me talk about it all the time, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, it's
So
nice
it's so
because
nice.
we're similar on the similar timeline now.
Literally an hour difference.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's it.
I think people don't know that Ireland and South Africa, or Ireland or UK and
Yeah.
South Africa, and it's just an hour, right? It's an hour difference.
Literally, it's an hour difference because you're on the Greenwich Meridian. So
Yes.
if you go north to south, no, don't worry about like jet lag or anything because you're probably going to be on the same time zone.
Yeah.
East to west, west to east,
That's kills
that's
it.
where you get the lag. You know what I mean? That's where you get jet lag.
Mm,
And even for me, like I've made sure all my clients were prepared on Monday for the whole week because I said to them, I said, look, I'm flying on Wednesday. I'm going to be jet lagged, right? So I don't want to give you half of what I can actually give you,
mm.
so I made sure they're all prepped and ready to rumble. Let me get over this jet lag and then, hit the ground running there. But yeah, if anyone, just for like random facts, yeah, north to south, south to north, you're good for time. East to west, west to east, you guys are going to be jet lagged and girls are going to be jet lagged. You know
There we
what I
go.
mean?
We
So,
got we
like,
got
I'm
it.
having coffees at like 4 p.m.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bro, because it's like 10 o'clock in
Yeah.
Thailand. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, there we go. You've got a bit of geography in there as well. So as well as our pessimistic views on on life and on politics. Till next time, that was episode 2 of the Shamrock and Springbok have chats about basically everything and anything.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll be back next Wednesday to talk all about Sadia Khan.